Yo, welcome to another episode of Gaming with Mr. C. And today we're going to smash our way through the Marvel's Avengers review.
Mr. C, Gaming with Mr. C.
So guys, I basically wanted to start off by saying that this is predominantly going to be a single player campaign review. I've gotten asked a lot of questions about how the single player is. For those gamers who are like me, who predominantly stick to single player campaign, how was that experience for us? Because it has been mostly marketed as a multiplayer or games as service type of game. So that's how I'm going to be sticking with this review. So if you wanted a more in-depth review of the multiplayer, I'm sorry, my guy, look elsewhere. There's this cool feature at the top of YouTube where you can hit the search bar, type in Marvel's Avengers review, and maybe they'll help you out. So guys, let's go ahead and get into the story. The story here isn't that, the story arc itself really isn't all that impressive. It basically starts off as A-Day, this a catastrophic event that happens where the Avengers are left set up to where they accidentally kill thousands of people. And it leaves room for politicians basically to ban mutants or the Avengers from the world. So it basically at that point, 5 years later, you kind of come back as this girl named Kamala who ends up being Miss Marvel, and as she tries to get the Avengers back together. And it's this interaction over this journey of Kamala trying to get back with the Avengers that is kind of interesting. That part of the story is a little bit better than the overall arc of the story. And for those Marvel fans and Avengers fans, you know, stay after the credits because there's going to be a little something for you. So guys, let's get into the graphics. The graphics were the most impressive part of this game. This game is gorgeous, and I mean gorgeous looking. It is made by Crystal Dynamics, who also is known for Tomb Raider, Eidos, who is also part of Hitman. And I got a lot of Hitman and Tomb Raider vibes from this game, especially in the way of graphics. The explosions, and the character models were just highly detailed. I was on more than one occasion just wowed. My hard drive is filled up with screenshots and videos of this game of just by how amazing it looked. I kind of likened it to that of Tomb Raider, but also of Spider-Man of 2018, of how up close everything is real detailed and beautiful looking, but in the action scenes where that camera kind of pulls out, it is less impressive. But in this game, more so than Spider-Man, it is still eye-dropping at times, especially with everything that's going on screen, where there's not that dip in quality. I will say I had two things about, or three things, I guess, about the graphics. Number one, there is a camera mode, which I use quite often, but the camera mode itself wasn't that impressive. I've mainly used it to get the screen overlays off so I could take a unobstructed picture. Or screenshot. Secondly, towards the end of the game, mainly, the graphics, they were so impressive, but the character models just completely disappeared from the screen, and I was literally fighting with, like, going off of, like, the superpowers themselves. It was super weird, but it happened to me on more than one occasion. Finally, on the graphics, you have a 4K option or a high performance option. I tried it in both modes. I personally preferred the 4K. However, the high performance mode, it was buttery smooth. So definitely awesome there. As far as sound goes, the sound effects, the voice acting I thought was actually top notch. One of my fears about this game was being so accustomed to the Avengers movie universe that I wasn't going to really appreciate these characters because even me, I even had a conversation with Logan Phoenix over at Graveyard Gaming, where we were like, it kind of looks like they tried to take the movie character and like make them similar to them, but not so similar to them that they would get sued. And that's kind of how I felt about the character models in the face, but everything was incredibly detailed. But the voice acting, they did a great job of establishing themselves instead of trying to mimic that of the characters in the movies. So especially the banter between the characters while you're just in a mission was great, and it was very reminiscent of the Avengers, both in comic book and movie form. So you're probably like at this point in this review like, okay, I mean, this all sounds dope, right? Well, we haven't got really into the meat and potato of the game. So I do want to start off and say that you pretty much play as the core Avengers characters in this game. You have Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Captain America, and Miss Marvel, or Kamala, as you play her really before she becomes Miss Marvel. They did a they did a well job. They did a good job of pacing how you play as these characters, almost so much that I kind of forgot about some of the characters. But it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to play as Hulk for six missions, and then no, they did a good job of pacing it. You predominantly play as Miss Marvel throughout the game, though. So most of the characters do actually control the same. You have your light attack, your heavy attack, your jump or your ascend, and then your descend button. And then you have a superpower here, double tap for superpower. So that's all pretty much the same per character. Now the characters are obviously a little bit different. As Thor, you have to throw his hammer, call it back. Captain, you just throw a shield, it automatically comes back. Whereas Iron Man, you can ascend and descend, going up and down. My least favorite to play as, honestly, was Iron Man because of the ascending and descending and trying to be on the ground in the air. It was hard to find that balance where it wouldn't automatically go up or automatically go down when you wanted to do one or the other. And to try to find a central focal point when you're fighting as Iron Man was a little difficult. However, each superhero does kind of have their own mission, whereas Iron Man's missions are more in flight, whereas Hulk, you would more or less travel by jumping, and Black Widow, you would kind of maneuver about by swinging. And those missions are kind of geared towards them specifically. So you do kind of have central bases throughout the game. I'm not going to really say what they are because I don't want to feel like it is a spoiler for you guys. But they do have central locations where you can kind of upgrade and use collectibles you found throughout the worlds to upgrade your character cosmetically or physically or with armor. And you can purchase different items as well. So it does also have skill points. So you do have that kind of upgrade RPG system. You do have some looting, but I didn't necessarily feel like it was where I needed to purchase items. There's just kind of boxes throughout that you find things. So then they also have Jarvis, where you can go and kind of pick your mission. And this is the part I was kind of uneasy about because I didn't want it to feel overly multiplayer. But they did a good job of detailing, hey, these are challenge missions that you can get to kind of gain experience and upgrade your player. These are multiplayer type missions. And here, this is your campaign and how you progress in the story. So they did do a good job of that. And kind of letting you, the single player campaign player, kind of advance the story. So guys, finally the main core of the game, the actual mission structures themselves. What am I actually going to be doing in this game? And it's kind of, in my opinion, dividing in two pieces. One is a very smaller portion, which is more of a Tomb Raider-esque style of exploring, where you have your wall jumping, your cliff hanging, your set pieces. It even actually has the same kill screen as Tomb Raider as you fall off the cliff. Which I actually enjoyed that part of it. It was just such a minimal part of the game. The majority of the game is the actual fighting, which makes sense. You're the Avengers. You're supposed to be fighting, right? But this is where the game completely falls apart for me because it did have an overwhelming feeling that of a multiplayer game. In other words, it was very Doom-esque, or even earlier 2000 superhero games, or even that of multiplayer games, where it was just swarm of enemies, clear out the room, swarm of enemies, clear out the room. And they're all pretty much the same enemies. So it just gets old after the first hour. There's even a part of the game where it was even take over the base, where it was like, hey, platform A, go clear the enemies from there. Now go get B. Oh, they're back at A, go back to A. And it's just like, is this for real right now? This is a single player campaign? It was just incredibly disappointing. If they would have stuck more towards that Tomb Raider style, or even taken the Spider-Man 2018 approach where, hey guys, we're going to really focus in on the single player mission structure, this game could have been amazing. Because what is there is really good, except for what you're actually doing in the missions. What I'm saying is the controls are nice, the story, and the graphics are really nice, but it's just that mission structure. After the first hour, you're just like, why am I still playing this game? Because it's the same thing over and over and over again. All right, guys, so my final thoughts. This game had actually every intentions of being a good game. It's just its thrusters went out when it came to the mission structure of the game. The graphics and the sound, the voice acting was its saving grace. I just think if they would have focused in a little bit more on that single-player mission structure, this game would have been a smash hit instead of a Hulk smash disc. So with that being said, I would generously give this game a 6 out of 10. I'm out the Avengers.
Gaming with Mr. C. Gaming with Mr. C. 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 Gaming with Mr. C. Gaming with Mr. C. 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 Gaming with Mr. C. Gaming with Mr. C. 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 Gaming with Mr. C. Gaming with Mr. C. C.